Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, today, let's take the blessings of Almighty on this wonderful occasion of New Year, which is also known as Ugadi or Indian New Year or Hindu New Year, and is known by various names across India and the world. So, with the blessings of Almighty, we shall commemorate today sessions and occasions. And we wish you all happy Ugadi. Hope you all have enjoyed this Ugadi's pachadi or chutney, which is a combination of 6 tastes, 6 emotions, or 6, ingredients that make up the diversity of our life. So before we proceed, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating Ugadi, which is Samvatsaradi. That means starting of the year. And it is widely celebrated across the world by Indians, especially South Indians, that is from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, in the name of Ugadi and in the name of different various festivals like Gudi Padwa and various other names. It is also celebrated across the nation and across the world. So, this is calculated as per the oldest ancient calendar, which is later popularly known as Hindu calendar. And we have 60 years which come in rotation in a cycle. So it is a constituent part of the rotating 60-year cycle of Samvatsara. Like every year is given a name. This year is termed as Krodhi. So we name or we call this year as Sri Krodhi Nama Samvatsara. So that's why we wish everyone today and this entire year as Sri Krodhi Nama Samvatsara Ugadi Shubhakanksha, or greetings and wishes for a happy New Year, happy Ugadi. So this festival is observed based on the lunisolar calendar in the month of Chaitra and typically falls in the late March or early April of Gregorian calendar. So this is the day, first day of Chaitra Masa, that is day 1 of Chaitra Mas, the Chaitra month, and Ugadi is the first new moon after the March equinox. So that's why we had yesterday Amavasya, the new moon, and today we are celebrating on the first new moon. After first new moon, we are celebrating Ugadi. So this day is observed by getting up early, taking oil bath, and drawing colorful patterns of rangoli or mugulu or beautiful decorations with various floors and flowers, including mango leaf decorations and flower decorations on the doors and windows, which is also famously or commonly known as toranas. And it is a tradition that on this occasion, we wear new clothes, which was brought for this festival. And a lot of philanthropic and charitable acts are performed on this day for the needy. And special food is prepared on this occasion. And a special ingredient, a ritual of preparing Ugadi Pachadi or Ugadi Chutney and visiting temples and religious spiritual places is also followed on this day. And even in ancient inscriptions, ancient practices, traditions, and cultures, Ugadi has been placed an important role, and it is an historic festival for everyone, recording their huge celebrations with pomp and glory, highlighting the welfare and philanthropy activities by the devotees through various temples and Ugadi celebrations. The name Ugadi or Yug-Adi is derived from the Sanskrit words Yuga, which means age, and Adi means beginning. So thus this festival is the new beginning, the beginning of a new year, the beginning of a new month, of a new year, the beginning of the first day of the new month and the new year. So thus, from now onwards, we see, from today onwards, we see the new year begins. From today and across the nation, we see a lot of other states also having New Year, because Chaitra Mas truly represents the new year. The changes in the season, the changes across the world we can observe, especially across the nation, we see that truly represents a change in the cycle of seasons. As we know, we have seasons spread across the year. So one complete cycle of seasons gets completed and we enter into the next cycle of the seasons. That's why it truly represents a new year. So a new year, just by changing a date, by changing, a diary or a calendar doesn't significantly change the year. The change has to come within ourselves. The change has to come within the nature, within the environment. Then only we'll be able to enjoy, rejoice, celebrate the new year. Often we see the new year has been shifted many times. We have seen on this platform many commemorations. Every year, we have seen various calendars which was created by human beings with lots of flaws, and we have been changing lot of days, dates, and some days disappeared from the calendar itself. We have seen through various commemorations how, you know, the various calendars were created for their vested interests and for their own purposes, but which were purely unscientific. The present Gregorian calendar, which we are following, is just because it is more convenient as they have fixed dates, because it is difficult for everyone to remember, because these dates are purely based on the cycle, seasons, purely based on the astrological, astronomical data, which is purely scientific, based on the ancient science. Because every year, the rotation of the earth, the revolutions of the earth in its orbit, and the angle of the earth keeps slightly changing. Because of that, there are changes in the duration of years, months slightly, sometimes in seconds, over months and years. That's why there is significant changes even in the formation of dates of various festivals, and it depends on various occurrences. This makes it a little bit difficult to have a little more in-depth understanding of the calendar. That's why many people find it difficult to follow these traditional ancient calendars. That's why this Gregorian calendar became famous, because it simply takes the date. So nowadays we see birthdays, death days, anniversaries are all remembered on that day. But it is not that day actually you are born. It is not that day you are actually married. Or it is not that day exactly. If you calculate exactly and see, it is not the day and time on which you were exactly born. That also varies. Even if you calculate scientifically, it is not the same day. That's why when we follow ancient calendars, we have the exact date, time. That's why today a very important activity is also taken up, which is called Panchanga Shravanam. Knowing of our Panchangam, that is almanac, the traditional ancient calendars, which is truly scientific in its nature. If you want to exactly follow the time, the dates, then there is no other option to follow ancient calendars, because that gives you precise birthday, death day, anniversary of any event, of any life events. These Gregorian calendars are simply markers relatively to the event, which are not a truly exact date and time or day of that event. These are relative events. So if you want exactly to celebrate your birthday on the day, on the time, on the date you are born, then there is no other option to follow these ancient calendars. That's why these ancient, the oldest calendars, Hindu calendars, especially, it's not religious. Always, people get offended why we have to follow that calendar, this calendar. as already many times I have mentioned on this platform, religions have been created by people, for people, only for human beings, for their own reasons. And we should, as an educated, as an intellectuals, we should not simply go by any religion, because certain things which are universal in nature, which were existing since years, have been politicized by with various religions. So we should not blindly go by the terms by which they are referred to. That prohibits us from the ancient traditional knowledge systems. That means we will be following unscientific systems, which creates a lot of problems, issues, and also which is truly not scientific as it is claimed. Merely because science has a very limited presence, limited scope, it is in infancy stage. So we cannot expect everything to be explained by the science. There are many things that are beyond the scope of science. So by saying that, we are not trying to devalue or undervalue the science. Science is there, but the approach, as I was mentioning yesterday also, the practitioners of the science are not very well equipped. It is not the fault of science, but those who call themselves as scientists, those who call themselves as authority of a particular science, are not completely well versed with the science. That is a major problem. So the ones who are practicing these ancient sciences have a broad understanding, and it all depends on their individual capacities and knowledge, and the scope of their study and their scope of understanding of the depth of the knowledge. So never science fails. Science fails because of the practitioners, because of the scientists, because of the academicians, because they are not very well prepared in that subject. So we should not get carried away. When we say we are literate, when we say we are educated, we should come out from all these bias and propagandas of religion, belief systems. A truly educated literate is always ahead of religion. As long as an literate or educated is binded by the religion or belief system, he or she, though is a literate or educated, still remains uneducated. So that's why, irrespective of what religion or what belief system says, you should always go back, explore which is the oldest system and which is scientific. Of course, today there is a lot of misinformation, disinformation, which is more popular, widely prevalent and promoted because of vested interest. We should not get carried away by that. We should explore the truth beyond what is being promoted, what is being propagated through various media channels. The kind of programming in TV, radio, and social media, online media, offline media, by investing huge amount of human capital and various other resources, are just to promote these pseudosciences and to promote their vested interests, either for the business or for various reasons. So, and educate, because on this occasion, we all have to move, have to embrace this new beginning. Not only enjoy the new beginning in the environment, in the nature, but also we should have a new beginning in ourselves. That's why we need to guide. We need to give the direction. We need to show the direction. In fact, we need to give ourselves the right path to choose. Whether we are taking up or not is different thing. But at least the information, the knowledge that is getting disseminated should guide us, should provide us more opportunities so that we can take an informed decision, so that we can become enlightened person. We should not be bounded by these religions or belief systems, or for that matter, any system that is making us a frog in a well. As long as we have that limited knowledge and our knowledge is bounded by four walls, or you know, like a frog in a well, our understanding of the world is very limited. Today, we are in the context of global village. That means entire world has become a village. And if we are still, that means we are in an ocean. And in ocean, there are some crores and billions and millions of wells. And we need to come out of that well. That well may be in the form of religion. That well may be in the form of belief system. That well may be in the form of any science, particular science, or a philosophy. We should come out today in the context of international or a global reality. Today, we need to come out of those boundaries. Only when the frog jumps from the well and get out of the well and jumps into the ocean, then it will be able to appreciate and explore the huge opportunity, the wealth of information, the wealth of knowledge that is there. So we should not always be confined within our own comfort zones. Today, let's the new beginning also embrace us, motivate us to explore our environment beyond religion, beyond belief system, beyond caste, creed, race, color, ethnicity, and geographical boundaries. Let's explore, let's expose ourselves to the world of knowledge, to the world of experiences, to the world of insight on this wonderful occasion of Ugadi. As already mentioned, Ugadi is followed and observed on the first day of Chaitra Masa, that is the first month of the year. On the first day, where the sun transits into the Aries constellation, which is also the festival of Vaisakhi and is also known as Sauramana Ugadi or Mesha Sankranti, and also known as Gudi Padwa and various other names. So the common rituals that are followed, the preparations for the festival begin few days earlier or few weeks or sometimes a month earlier, as the houses and the dwellings where we live are cleaned thoroughly, getting repainted or renovated, and buying new clothes and new items for the festival, and decorate the houses and the dwellings with fresh mango leaves and flowers, as mango leaves and coconuts are considered auspicious. Coconut is considered auspicious, as anything that is offered to the Lord should be pure, should not be smelt before it is offered to Lord, should not be seen, should not be touched, should not be tasted, should not be exposed. So that's why Why coconut is very significant? It is very nutritious, and it also, you cannot see unless the coconut is broken. It is untouched, unseen, unsmelled, untasted until you broke the coconut. So that's why coconut is treated to be the best pure offering to the Lord. That's why whenever we go to any temple or whenever we do perform any rituals, we break the coconut and offer to the Lord because it is the purest form of offering we can give, which is not diluted. So immediately after breaking the coconut, the tender coconut, inside, which is then immediately offered to the Lord. That is the purest offering, food offering we can offer to the Lord. That's why it is very important in all the rituals and is also considered auspicious in rituals and traditions. So people not only just offer prayers and conduct rituals in their homes, but also visit various temples and seeks the blessings of goddess and gods. The celebration of Ugadi is marked by spiritual and religious and social and economical merriment. We can see today there is also tradition of buying a new pot for making Ugadi Pachadi, the chutney, and also as this is summer and we all want to take cool water, right? So we buy pots made of mud, clay, which is a natural refrigerator. You can keep store vegetables, which naturally decreases the temperature. And you will get the same, even better cooled water than in the fridge if you buy a new pot and keep the drinking water in it. It is also very healthy and nutritious and naturally cooler without any side effects. So this is a great opportunity for the artists, for the potters, who artisans who make these clay pots, which are livelihood for them. It promotes not only just religious spiritual activities this festival, but also various trades, artisans, and artists, and also various occupations, people who are engaged in these kind of operations, like for erecting or constructing these mantaps, and those who collect different kind of leaves, like especially today, we collect various ingredients. We make Ugadi chutney with various ingredients, like we use sugar cane, jaggery made of sugar cane. So farmers, sugarcane farmers, and that too, we all the ingredients which are prepared, used in this Ugadi Pachadi are the new harvest. We don't use old harvest. The harvest which has been in this year, especially, we use all the new tamarind, new new chili powder from the recent harvest, and salt also, fresh salt and pepper. We can use either chilies or pepper as per availability and as per our this thing. Many still use pepper instead of chilies. So you can either use chilies, chili powder, or pepper powder as per your interest and choice. And mangoes, fresh mangoes, green mangoes, and neem flowers. These 6 ingredients, which are fresh, which are the fresh harvest for this season, are collected and those resembling 6 tastes and 6 emotions of our life are combined together and offered to the Lord and also consumed by all of us. So that says, that symbolically represents that life is all a combination, a mixture of emotions, tastes. Now our tongue can sense different tastes like tangy, sweet, hot, salty. We have different taste buds on the tongue that determines the taste of the food. So all these taste buds which are available on the tongue, these different tastes, help us to sense the taste. So all these tastes are offered to tongue that will also improve the efficiency of the tongue. It will improve the growth. It will motivate the taste buds so that we can enjoy the taste of our food. It will stimulate the taste buds. So thus, if we start, explaining in every aspect, even days are not enough, months are not enough, years are not enough. So much knowledge is there. We can go on talking for hours, weeks, months together, years together on various aspects of ancient knowledge, which is the true science. But unfortunately, we are preoccupied with various other things and we have completely ignored, and we are not even aware of that our own ancient traditional knowledge systems. And we are borrowing the bits and pieces of our own traditional knowledge systems, which is studied by others, and they are also understanding in bits and pieces, and they are giving us and again in bits and pieces. Half knowledge is more dangerous. That is what today we are inviting more problems, issues, diseases, disorders, because we don't have a complete picture. They are also trying to understand in bits and pieces. And with the same bits and pieces, with their own subjective understanding, they are implementing it, and that also creates a lot of problems if not properly prepared and implemented. So similarly, this is a great opportunity for us to go back to refer to our ancient scriptures, ancient knowledge systems, so that we can equip ourselves with the great knowledge and we can have better health and well-being on this wonderful occasion. And today, apart from Ugadi Pachadi, no doubt that is a king or queen of today's recipes. Today is also a wonderful day for preparing the Sobbattu or Kosambri, Goju, and Chitranna, that is lemon rice, and mango pickles, and it is also in Karnataka, it is called as Holige, Obbattu, or Bobbatlu. This kind of sweet, like a sweet parota, it is prepared, sweet chapati with chana dal and jaggery and spices with atta, with a combination of wheat flour and maida, all-purpose flour. It is prepared with spices and served to Lord, and also distributed among all our family members, friends, and community. So these two are very important as part of the rituals. And apart from that, lemon rice and also pongal, sweet pongal and hot pongal, and also curd rice and various other preparations are also prepared on this based on one's, capacity or one's convenience, time, and resources. And nowadays, even entrepreneurship also bloom based on these festivals. and people are preparing homemade, food recipes, and they are delivering those who are working, those who are single who cannot, and many also due to this very competitive rat race that we are into, and many we see that nowadays present generations don't know how to prepare also, and some people doesn't know how to cook also, cook rice also. Many people doesn't know how to prepare rice or how to prepare curries. So that is making us more dependent. See, these are not gender based roles. Cooking, everyone has to learn because we have to eat, we have to survive, and we cannot eat which is not of our likes. No, we all have some taste preferences, and we want tasty food, healthy food, colorful food. So we enjoy food, right? We keep searching for different places where food is served. So we should not be dependent on anyone, especially the basic survival is, quenching our thirst and quenching and satisfying our hunger. So we should not be dependent on this, on anyone. So we should learn cooking irrespective of whether how much educated you are, how much qualified you are, how much uh, higher position you are occupying, because at the end of the day you have to eat. If you don't eat, you will die, right? And if you don't like what you eat, you will not eat properly. Then again you will invite a lot of diseases and disorders. So that's why all these have given, blessed, especially women. Why cooking? Many people say why women has to cook, girls has to cook, because they require more nutrition comparatively to men, because they need to have more healthy food than men, because it's a very body itself is a complex, much more complex, because they give birth to children, and the health of the mother is more important to have a healthy child. That's why, and women is more capable, no doubt about it. Women are more capable, more efficient than men. That's why this task of preparing food is assigned voluntarily or forcibly, whatever we call, to women, because they are the best ones to decide and to have so much of patience. And they are very good in selecting and preparing patiently with love, care, passion, compassion, love. So that's why it is entrusted with them. It's not that it is their duty, but even men, many men in the history have, you know, performed these skills excellently. And today, most of the chefs are, you see, across the, establishments, hotels are men only. And even if there are many functions, also, you see many men only cooking. We see very less women. But now, even women are getting into that because they are born, food makers, they can make better food. So that's why it's not question of whether I cook, you cook, or whether only men has to cook or women has to cook or prepare food. It's everyone has to prepare equally. Everyone should know, at least, even if you are not preparing, you should know, because it is your own health. You cannot depend on anyone else, and that dependence comes with lot of costs, ifs and buts. You'll not be satisfied, no matter how. It comes with lot of consequences of ill health, diseases, and sometimes, because you know what is good for you, and not every time you can go and customize what you want. because it is not possible and it is a very costly affair. And again, it will be a great burden on you. It will be taxing on your incomes and it will be putting a bigger hole in your pockets. So that's why if you prepare yourself, now there are a lot of, processing that happens automatically. You have cutters, vegetable cutters, fruit cutters, which separates, and you have various food process, vegetable processes that are available, slicers that are available that decreases the time of preparation and cooking. And now with the advent of various things like you have microwaves and induction stoves and gas stoves and automatically, but of course they have their own side effects. It is always good to prepare on gas stoves because now we can't use wood also because it is creating a lot of pollution, because now huge number of population explosion that has happened, so that is creating a lot of issues. So that's why in spite of all these things, what we still have a lot of scope for development. So everyone who is born on this planet have to learn cooking. There is no choice. If you don't learn, then you are missing the wonderful experience of life. At least as a human being, people commonly says, if you don't eat and sleep, there is the minimum things required, right? Eating and sleeping. If those two things are not in a good state, then the entire life gets affected. The health and well-being gets affected. So no matter whether you are a man or a woman, girl or a boy, it doesn't matter. You have to learn cooking, and that makes you more independent. When we are talking about being independent, then learning cooking is also an important life skill that makes you independent. That's why these festivals encourage more such cuisines as per the season. When we are talking about a balanced food, every season has seasonal foods. And based on the season, we have to take certain foods that will help us to maintain health in that season. That's why these seasonal fruits, seasonal vegetables are coming. But nowadays, you get everything in every season because they are refrigerated. They are stored around the year. And that is creating also a lot of problems because some seasons you should not consume some fruits and vegetables because they are not suited for that season, and that can create problems. Because sometimes in summer season, if you consume fruits and vegetables that increases the body temperature, or that generates more heat, what will happen? So you should always try to consume those fruits and vegetables which are seasonally available. That will help us to keep ourselves in proper hydration or dehydrated levels, at the proper hydration levels, so that our body remains cool in spite of hot climates, or uh, our body remains moderately hot even in cold climate. So all these depends on the food we consume. So that's why these seasonal foods and locally available foods are very much required, because they are the native species and they are well suited for our climate, season, and our human body systems. That's why these festivals, don't think festival as something that is not a mandatory. We have to ourselves put it as a mandatory that we need to create all these. Even if you cannot prepare yourself, then find some good caterer who can supply you, uh, and you consume on these days, on in this season. You find some good caterer who can supply you and consume. It is good for health. Even if you can't prepare, at least buy in small quantities. Always I suggest, I recommend to prepare yourself. At least you can form a community, those who cannot perform individually or independently. We can have a team of all women and men together or separately or however it is, whoever knows, we can form a team and prepare for everyone, like community kitchens. It's not that everyone has to prepare. We can, whole apartment or whole community or whole society can come together, prepare adequate quantity and distribute, and also share the expenses. So this way we can also enjoy the festival with lots of recipes that prepared food savories as part of festival. We can enjoy different foods on this occasion. At the same time, we can also contribute to the health and well-being and also to the economy. No, lot of consumption, healthy consumption and healthy production that happens. So I don't want to get into most religious things into this, but now because we are talking more into scientific nature, so there are a lot of such benefits. So there are various legends also associated on this festival. So the Brahma, the god Brahma, first came into the existence, though because he has been assigned to create the whole universe by Lord Mahavishnu. As we know, famously, very popular gods of Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism, however you refer to. Lord Mahavishnu has assigned the duties of creation to Lord Brahma and the destruction, because you need to maintain the balance also, to Lord Shiva. So the creator is Lord Brahma and the destroyer is Lord Shiva. So we need to strike a balance between both. You cannot go on creating. You should also end that creation at some point. That is, every species born has to die at some point of time. And the organizer or the maintainer is Lord Vishnu himself. So that's why the entire gamut of this creation to destruction has been distributed among themselves, and the Brahma has created the universe and all species. On this day. And it is also the day the great deity of protection, Krishna, departed from the world to the Edo. So the birth of Brahma signifies the arrival of new age, thus marking New Year. And there are various legends, we'll not get into that. Due to paucity of time, we'll move on to other commemorations. Today is also commemorated as International Be Kind to Lawyers Day internationally. A 2018 poll by Call-Up found that lawyers receive pretty average ratings for their honesty and ethical standards, which is around 51%. So lawyers find themselves in the middle of many sticky situations. That's part of their job. So let's take a moment today to recognize the great work they do to help us out of messages or messes we create or we get ourselves into. So we'll be very brief in commemorations because we have the festival also. So, and the next commemoration for the day is National Student Employment Week, which in short is known as NSEW, which is observed and celebrated every second week of April from April 9 to 15 this year. It sets aside 7 full days of recognition, appreciation, and encouragement for the student employees and employers. Every year, the second week in April is dedicated to highlighting student employment practices across colleges and universities that help undergraduate students develop invaluable practical skills and, importantly, pay for their tuition expenses. Sponsored by the National Student Employment Association, NSEW, is designed to honor students and their employers and target university college campuses to develop career enhancing opportunities, increase participation, and celebrate their employed student body. Today is also commemorated as Appomattox Day, which is marked every year on April 9. It signifies the end of Civil War, which lasted for 4 years. On April 9, 1985, General Robert E. Lee and Confederate Army of Northern Virginia surrendered to Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant and the soldiers from the Union Army. On April 7th, after the Confederate troops had suffered a disastrous defeat at the Battle of Sailors Creek, Grant asked Lee to surrender. Grant declared that any further effusion of blood was solely on Lee's head. However, Lee refused as he still believed he could escape Grant, but asked the possibility of a peace agreement. Lieutenant General Grant replied that a peace agreement was out of question, but he would consider a military surrender. Upon realizing that his army was cornered, General Lee requested to discuss terms of surrender on April 9th. The two sides signed the surrender agreement at the McLean House. Today is also commemorated as Bataan Day in Philippines, is also known as Ara Ang Kaitingan, which is a national holiday in Philippines. It commemorates the valor of Allied forces during the siege of Bataan against Japan during the World War II. After a heroic last stand that lasted 3 months, 76,000 Philippine and American soldiers surrendered to the Japanese on April 9, 1942. The Japanese were not prepared for the sheer number of surrendered troops. Thus began the infamous Bataan Death March, when prisoners walked 66 miles to a prison camp in San Fernando. More than 20,000 prisoners of war died on the march due to exhaustion, starvation, or the hands of the captors. Today is also commemorated as Edinburgh Science Festival in UK. It is an annual festival organized by the Edinburgh Science Foundation with the dates varying from year to year. This year, the festival is being held on April 9 to 24, and it's time to get your GCon. This year's event marks a return to the festival's family hub at City Arts Center and 2 major new interactive exhibitions, Datasphere and Consume, along with a vibrant and varied program of other events for audiences for all ages and ranges. The focus will be on everything from personal to planetary health, with an emphasis of the urgency of tackling the climate crisis. It will also explore life forms, life cycles, revolutionary ideas, and solutions to global challenges. Today is also commemorated as Jenkins Year Day in Spain, marks when the Captain Robin Jenkins lost his ear during a battle. In 1731, Spanish Coast Guards led by Privateer John de Leon Fanido invaded, searched, and raided Jenkins' ship named Rebecca. The exact reason why they chopped off his ear is unclear. Some accounts say that it was a punishment for raiding Spanish ships, while others say Rebecca was carrying contraband. Fandino arrogantly said to Jenkins, "Go and tell your king that I will do the same if he dares to do the same." Jenkins returned to England with his pickled ear in a bottle, which had a tremendous effect on the nation, so much so that the House of Commons summoned him in March 1738 to appear before them and produce the severed ear. Jenkins dutifully did so, to the astonishment of the House. Those in attendance asked him what he had done to warrant such treatment. To this, Jerkin replied, I commended my soul to God and my cause to the country. Today is also commemorated as Kosovo Constitution Day in Kosovo. It is observed on April 9th each year, marks the day in 2008 when the Constitution of Kosovo was ratified by the people of Kosovo. A small landlocked territory, Kosovo borders countries Serbia, Albania, Macedonia, and Montenegro, part of erstwhile Yugoslavia. The country was the ground of NATO-led airstrikes in 1998 and 1999, dubbed the Kosovo War. The constitution completed in 2008 aimed to unify the country and establish a democratic and peaceful state for its people. The 2008 constitution also states Kosovo's desire for Euro-Atlantic integration. Today is also commemorated as National Cherish an Antique Day in US. We know that most antiques have a historical value, and we all have some kind of antique at home, be it crockery, handlooms, jewelry, or showpieces. These valued possessions carry historical and cultural value. Antiques are a great way to learn about treasured stories of the object and to whom it belonged. National Cherish and Antique Day celebrations the history behind antique items, and it also gives the new ideas of how these objects can prove useful to you now. You can also learn about the collectors who document history through preservation and upkeep. So today is also commemorated as National Chicken Little Awareness Day in US, an annual celebration of a folk tale and occurs on March 9th. The story is about an insanely scared chick who constantly thinks the world is coming to an end. He is convinced of this because objects such as acorns keep falling on his head. When he makes out to be the sky falling, he goes on a quest around the farm, warning the other animals of the impending danger. They believe him, and everybody goes into a panic. They all join him in going to warn the king about the disaster. After this point, there are some different endings to the tale. The most familiar one says that a fox invites the farm animals to its lair and eats them all. In another version, the rooster survives and warns the chick, who then escapes. Other version says that all animals are rescued and made it to the king. Of course, we don't know exactly what happened. And today is also commemorated as National Chinese Almond Cookie Day. The golden cookie, sometimes with special designs and other times plain, delivers scrumptiousness in its crunch and almond flavors. Also known as Chinese almond moon cakes, the cookies are traditionally made during Chinese New Year as they are believed to bring good luck to the households. You can get special designs on your moon cakes by pressing the dough into a mold, but not having any designs on your cookies does not make them any less special or tasty, while it is unclear when exactly Chinese almond cookies were brought into American shores. There were no mentions of it before 1800s or the 1900s. Today is also commemorated as National Former Prisoner of War Recognition Day in US. Recognizes and honors the courageous prisoners of war, in short known as POW, and those who are still missing in action, in short known as MIA. Prisoners of war must be treated decently with respect. They are prisoners of war. They will be allowed to have all the basic rights. On this day back in 1942, American veterans were held by the Japanese and endured harsh treatment. While some survived, there were countless number of peoples that died on their way to prison camps. So almost all countries are doing and treating in similar ways or different varied ways. But no matter where the country, which country it is, prisoners of war shall be treated with respect and shall be entitled with the basic human rights. Today is also commemorated as National Mature Women Day. In US, it is a special day for the special older women in our lives, a day to recognize mature and confident women. Registered by famed makeup artist Laura Geller, it throws the spotlight of women who can be role models and influencers in their own right. It is also a good time for older women to start learning about their self-love and to embrace a positive attitude towards aging. This day is all about reminding women that they are special regardless of their advancing years. We celebrate all mature women today. Today, we are also commemorating National Name Yourself Day in US to celebrate reinvention by trying on a new name for size. Studies show that there is a link between someone's name and their personalities. Social scientists call this phenomenon the Dorian Gray effect, named after Oscar Wilde's novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. So, referring to the international Gray effect, named after Oscar Wilde's novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, referring to the internal factors that shape up people. The novel Dorian Gray remains youthful and beautiful, but his portrait takes on a more hideous appearance. Outside the story, factors such as personality, self-perception, and social outlook can influence on individuals, though probably not as drastic as Dorian's condition. Today is also commemorated as National Unicorn Day. Unicorn Day is to celebrate the most popular mythical creature. To celebrate a beautiful horned rainbow printed mythical creature, then we are most definitely the unicorn missing a trick. The unicorn is a symbol of happiness, fantasy, and wonder. It's an icon of color or childlike splendor and magic. They often make appearances on birthday cakes, children clothing, but it doesn't exist, in reality. The unicorn is known as a creature of legend, one with single large spiral pointy horn which protects from its forehead. They were spotted in early Mesopotamian artwork and were often noted in myths and stories deriving from China, Greece, and India. In Greek mythology, writers strongly believed that unicorns were running wild in a faraway distant realm. This distant realm was India, and Greek physician Strasias quoted in his book on the nature of animals that he believed India produced a one-horned horse. Some argued that he wasn't seeing a unicorn, but instead was sighting Indian rhinoceros. So that's why actually it was referring to a rhinoceros, single-horned rhinoceros. In Iran, right, unicorns were said to be found in Persepolis, and the Hebrew Bible describes an animal called the reem, which some believe to be unicorn. The unicorn has always been depicted as a symbol of grace and purity, with its horn said to hold the power to cleanse poisonous water and to heal the sickness. They would also sell the tusks of narwhal whale and advertise it as unicorn horn, and lots of things happen. So today is also commemorated as National Winston Churchill Day. In US, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. President Kennedy on April 9, 1963 signed into a law a bill making Churchill the soldier, author, and the indefatigable British Prime Minister, a honorary citizen of the United States. It wasn't his birthday or even the day of his death. He was very still very much alive, but the day did have military significance for Sir Winston, knighted by the Queen for his wartime service to England. He is credited with unifying the British people during the darkest days of World War II. To commemorate Winston Churchill Day on April 9, this day is celebrated. So, lastly, we have Vimy Ridge Day, commemorated in Canada, to commemorate the Battle of Vimy Ridge, which took place during the First World War at Vimy Ridge, France in 1970. The Canadian flag on Parliament Hill's Peace Tower is Ottawa is required to be lowered to half-mast by law. Breath-laying ceremonies are held at the Canadian National War Memorial in Ottawa, the Canadian National Vimy Memorial in France, and other locations around the world. So we have many other commemorations on this day, but we will end up here. And we once again wish you a happy, prosperous, joyful, happy new year to all of us. And may God bless us all with the happiness, abundant happiness, joy, prosperity to all of us and our family members. And may all your wishes come true. And the prosperity will bless you with health and wealth abundantly. So with this, I once again wish you all happy Ugadi to all of you. Before leaving, kindly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. See you all tomorrow at the same time, 6 o'clock, with the same joining link with different commemorations. Take care. Good night.